Hey everyone, are you ready to be fired up? Because I sure am. I've got Kris Krohn here, and he has just done so much in the real estate industry. He is an influencer, but most of all, he has a dedication and passion to helping others, and he has a brand new book coming out, which I cannot wait to read. I've already read his other 4 bestsellers. He's on his way to bestseller number 5. So welcome, Kris. Thanks for being here.
Krista, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So tell me first a little bit about your new book. I know, real estate agents are one of your main people, and right now there's just a lot going on in the industry, just like there is all the time. But right now, I think more than ever, people need, especially real estate agents, need some help and some motivation. So tell us a little bit about what your book's about.
Yeah, I've written so many other books on just wealth creation and how you acquire real estate and businesses and play that entire game. But honestly, people have a problem with their operating system because it really comes down not always to what we do, but the decisions that we make. And so this book is called Time Machine, and I've got a copy of it right here. This was just released. It's in all the Barnes and Nobles and can be found everywhere. It's on Amazon. And it's really about sharing 5 different lenses for making decisions in life, because most people, they're really making rational decisions from a place of time versus money versus logic. And if you think about it, like, logic can only get you as far as it's gotten you, so that's relatively limited unless you're accessing other storehouses of wisdom and mentors and people that have gone before. And then when it comes to the game of money, we've got a financial barometer that's set at a certain level, so we're really good at making the same-ish kind of money. And so it's always this game of time versus money versus logic. This book introduces some new ideas, fresh ideas. Some of those ideas really hunker down on what will really end up creating fulfillment for you in life. For example, one of my lenses is the joy quotient. So often when we are asking, hey, will this choice make me more money? Will it give me more time? Is it logical? But we're not actually asking, will this make me happy? And 85% of people that are out there living their lives, doing their jobs, don't like they don't like their life. They are unhappy human beings. We've got the mental health crisis going on. And it's strange, but a lot of people refuse to make choices from a space of, what will this do for me in the joy category? Or another lens is intuition, or another one is energy. So many people are depleted by the early afternoon. It's like they used up all their energy for the day. And they're like, man, is there a problem with my food intake? Is there a problem with my sleep? I'm like, no, look at the choices that you're making. You are bankrupting your energy storehouses based on choices that you're making. And so it's an opportunity to really evaluate life differently.
Ooh, I love it. A lot of people are so afraid of, change, and so they don't make decisions at all, right? So the choices that they're making is not to make decisions. And one of the things that one of my mentors always says is that you are where you're at because of a choice. Every aspect of your life is because of a choice that you made. And I realize that some things happen that we can't choose, right? I mean, I was a victim of abuse when I was younger. I didn't choose that, but I can choose what I do with it now, right? Like what my outcome is going to be. And I think that's awesome. Okay, so to kind of walk us through, so, if you can take one part of your book on how you help people with the different types of decisions, can you take one of those aspects and kind of break it down in a real layman's term so they can start utilizing and get excited about reading the book?
Yeah. Well, I think it starts with just understanding that there's 2 words that are going to ultimately dictate every result of your life. It's either yes or no. And by the time we were 15 years old, we heard the word no 50,000 times. It's like ingrained into us. So by the time we enter adulthood, we're just programmed to say no to life and no to just about everything out there. And I sometimes imagine that I get through the pearly gates after dying, and I get on the other side, and that there's this temple or this library dedicated to my life, and the multiverse of all the options of where it could have gone. And I go to the far extreme on one side, and imagine a version of your life where you said no every time you should have said yes, and imagine that you always said yes when you were supposed to say no. And basically, it would probably be a very short-lived life, a very unhappy life, a miserable life. But on the other end of the library, what would happen if you had the hindsight, a system for saying yes every time you were supposed to say yes and no every time you were supposed to say no? You would have this win rate where you would be on it, where yes is good and no is yes every time given the right answer. And the book is really about evaluating that. So one of the lenses that really is meaningful to me in life is this conversation of joy. And I want to go there for just a moment. I had figured out how to double my income, where it was $20 an hour, became $100 an hour, became $500 an hour, eventually $10,000 an hour. And then it went on and on. But I remember when I got to $10,000 an hour, that when I wasn't working, I would spend time with my child and to play a board game. And I felt like, shoot, I just lost $10,000 by like spending this hour with my kid. And I remember when I had that thought, I thought, that is so jacked up. Because yes, I've learned how to make my time super valuable. And yet money obviously isn't everything. More isn't, more private jets and mansions and bigger stuff and world travel. Like, it's great to win and succeed. But if we are out of balance, at what cost? And so if the only lens that we ever use is, for example, money, which is true for a lot of people, especially in our current economy where money is really tight and fear and scarcity abound, people are always trying to make the smartest financial choice. But the smartest financial choice isn't always the choice that will lead to the most joy. There was this moment where my wife wanted to connect with her mother because she's an adult now and she has her own family, and kind of felt like her mom kind of still put her in the mom-child category. And she's like, I really want to get to know my mom on more of a peer level. So she reached out to her mom and she said, you know what? Will you come on this trip with me? I'm going to Denver. We're going to do this rock show for a few days. It's one of my passions. I want to spend some time with you. And when she connected with her mom, she basically said, here's the flight. Let's go together. It's going to be great. And her mom called her up so giddy 30 minutes later and said, hey, I found a different flight. I'm going to save $62. And so I'll just meet you the next day, missing out on the whole purpose of spending time together. And it's because her mom uses money as a penny pincher. Everything is about saving money. And so there's huge limitations when our lenses are either cluttered or when there's just too few of them, because money should be compared to the game of joy, because sometimes more money isn't worth the opportunity cost of what you're losing. And I think that's true in career. I think there's a lot of people that choose careers that they're miserable with. They can't find real joy and happiness. And I'm like, you got no idea how that one yes to the wrong career of spending 40, 60 hours a week in something you don't enjoy is actually going to dilapidate your soul. And what it's going to do is it's going to suck the life out of you, and you're going to become an energy vampire. And your friend groups might change, or people might find you less tolerable because you're more ornery. And it's like, why? Because you didn't actually consider the merits of joy. On your deathbed, you will. You're going to look back and you're going to say, what am I proud of? You're not going to look at your bank account. You're going to look at, man, is there something I could have done to have enjoyed my life more than I did? So joy is just one of those lenses that I believe that we should take into account when we're making our choices.
Ooh, that's so true. So joy is one of them. And then first of all, just I don't want you to lose anybody. Tell them where they can go right now to find your book, because I know you're just released. Where can they go to get your book right now?
So the book's called Time Machine. You can find it right on Amazon. And right now we're just releasing the audiobook. It's kind of cool. I did the entire book in AI with my voice instead of spending 3 days in the studio for another book. And I listened to it. I'm like, this is actually really good. AI actually, did something useful.
I just did the same thing. And I will tell you what, I could not believe how much it sounded like me. And it was a trip, but there's nothing worse than doing an audiobook. Like doing an audiobook.
3 days in studio reading the book 7 times, right?
How'd you even do it in 3 days? The last time I was like, oh, it's going to take me 3 days. It took me 2 weeks, and I was ready to shoot myself. I was like, this is torture.
I know.
But the
AI hacks.
Oh yeah, that is so worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's another lens in here that I think is really missed in today's society, and it's the lens of intuition. And it's this idea that we are either always connecting with our higher self or our lower self. And our lower self is something we should never take advice from, because it's that limited voice inside that says you can't do it, you're not enough, you're too old, too fat, too slow, too this, too that, you can't do it. And the higher self says, wait a second, we're these earthlings that are designed to actually have a spiritual experience, and connecting to your higher self is an opportunity to connect to source, universe, God, and God always has a lean left or lean right. And so one of the lenses is, have you, rather than just making this terrestrial and just looking at the logic and the financial or the time commitment of something, we've elevated to looking at it from the joy lens, also from the energetic lens. But now let's go one step higher and just say, wow, is there a part of my higher calling? Is there a part of my mission and purpose in life that is going to resonate with something as simple as, do I send that email? Do I go on that trip? Do I hire this employee? And that little yes and little no will completely shift your universe on its axis of where you wind up in life. So that's a lens I think that is actually often forgotten. And yet in the book, I really teach how simple it is to close your eyes and ground, take a deep breath in, connect to some beautiful positive energy, ask the question, and then feel that voice rise up inside that leans left or right, yes or no. because I've often regretted decisions I made from logic. I have never regretted a decision that I've made from my soul.
Oh, that's so true. Napoleon Hill talks about that. Successful people have this calling, and they take it. Like they have this calling that comes, and the successful people are the ones that actually listen to it. You know, I was a victim of that. I had a calling for about 4 years before I left real estate to go to be a real estate coach. And everyone told me I was crazy because normal people that make it $1.8 million a year in gross commission, they don't leave their career at 48 to do that. And they didn't know that I was like, I'm tired of selling houses. I want more. I used to be a teacher, and I'm so glad I listened to it. I mean, I was reading the book, and I literally stopped what I was doing. Like, it immediately went to Facebook and said, hey, I'm going to start a coaching program, and I'm no longer selling real estate. And just from reading that book, you know?
Wow, that's amazing. Really, really incredible. And when you feel inspired and when it strikes. And so this book says, go find that so that anytime you need to feel that moment of inspiration, it can be upon you.
Mm-hmm. And so many people, like, there's a part of our brain called the amygdala, and it's like you were talking about that, too bad, too fat, too slow, you know, it's like the bad wolf, I call it, and it just keeps you playing so small. And if we would just listen to the higher power, like you said, to intuition, I call it the good wolf. I mean, that says you are enough, you can do this, like, go for it. That's that voice. I mean, but most people don't. It's great to be able to identify that and give them more skills in your book is teaching, so they can, tell their brains, look for this more. When you see it, say yes to it. Like, go for it, you know? So I think it's hard for people. They're so fearful. And not only them, but everyone else around them telling them not to do it. Like, keep playing small because it makes us feel better, you know?
Yeah, so we've got these irrational ideas and concepts in the book that are saying, hey, actually there's merit to emotion, there's a merit to these other thoughts. But then we do go back and we look at the logical and the rationale and say, okay, fine. Like, let's make it from a financial standpoint. Let's look at that lens. Do you have a way of actually knowing whether you're financially growing? For example, in my world, my net worth and my income doubles every single year. I've been doing this for years, and I have a system for doing that. And it's in the book, I describe the system, and I just show people you have to know what you're worth today so that when a new opportunity comes, you know whether to say yes or no based on your new standard. This year, I'm training the people that are going to take over what I'm doing this year, so I'm freed up to do something different next year. But what should I do? What should I say yes and no to? Well, there's a standard and there's math to actually knowing what that is. A lot of times people set these resolutions, Krista, like they want to grow their life, but then when you look at the way they make their decisions, it doesn't really make sense. It's like, well, you know, you're doing, let's call it $80 an hour work, and all of a sudden an opportunity came along for more money, and it was $65 an hour, and you said yes. I'm like, whoa, why are you saying yes to that? You're not just getting more money, you're getting like a pay decline for the value of your time. You're supposed to only say yes to things that are worth $160 an hour. Yeah. And the reality is, once you set the bench, once you set the standard, those opportunities are available. We just don't know when to say yes or no or delegate. And so that's another thing that I cover in the book, which is how do you make your time worth literally $1 million an hour? Because I've got one activity I do in my life where my time is worth over $1 million an hour. And how did I get there? Through the right yeses and the right nos, and through using these 5 lenses.
So I'm probably wrong, but maybe I'm right. So I would say that your time for $1 million an hour is probably being doing things, being in front of the most amount of people, right? The more people you can be in front of is going to give you the most impact because you have more influence. Is that correct?
100%. I spend Monday afternoons, a few hours in studio, and my team basically chops up all that content. And they put it out to the world, and it gets 5 to 10 million views every week. And those views, depending on how they're directed and used, lead to some of those highest activities.
Yeah, I would assume that. That's awesome. It's good that you know that. You know, it's good you know, like, you need to know when to say no to things. I need to learn that. Yeah. I'm working on that now. Okay, so this has been very insightful, Kris, and I'm really excited to actually read the book. I love reading, but I love more than anything taking the practical, you know, taking what I'm learning and actually putting it into use. So I would venture to say you've written multiple best-selling books. From the passion that I see in your eyes and just how you're speaking, is it safe to say that you've created books that are all about, you know, wealth and real estate and all these things? Would it be safe to say that this is probably one of your favorite books that you've put out?
Yeah, I honestly, this book and my last book, I think they're such a perfect duo together. And I think what I love so much about this book is you know, teaching people how to make money or master the game of money is one game. And it's really great to help someone elevate their lifestyle or to figure out the game of retirement or to figure out how to get back on track when they've fallen behind. But helping someone make superior decisions in every area of their life, for me, is actually hands down way more fulfilling, because there's a lot of broken marriages out there because people don't know how to invest in them with the right yeses or nos. There's a lot of broken bodies out there because people aren't investing in their bodies with the right yeses or nos. Everything comes down to the right yes and the right no. And now, this book is designed to really share a system, my perspective on how you actually go about doing that.
Well, they're learning from someone that's actually created a great life, so that's good, But I had a feeling of that, because here's the thing. If you can teach people these principles in this book, then they should go back and read the other books, because until you get this down, right, learning how to make the right yeses and say the right nos and look for opportunities and, what you should be or shouldn't be doing in all different areas of your life, you cannot have a successful business. Like, people will come to me, teach me funnels and digital marketing. It's like, okay, great. First, we're going to start with, let's train your brain to work for you. But that's the first step, and so I'm so passionate about that, about teaching people, like, hey, here's some cool ways to help you, live your best life, even so much more than anything else. So I could see that in you, which is pretty cool. Okay. So, I always ask people this question, and well, first of all, the answer is go buy Kris's book right now, right? The Ultimate Time Machine. But if you could give some piece of advice in any area, whether it's business, relationships, money, wealth, health, success, and kind of sum it up, what would that advice be?
I believe that your destiny, where you're going to land, comes down to the things you do every day. So taking a moment to reevaluate habits is actually really important. For example, someone listening might actually have the habit of, it's just like on my way to work, I always grab a donut, and I always grab like one of those like 100-ounce drinks of soda. And I do that every single day. And it's like, cool, like, because that's a daily habit, do some math on the impact on your body. Go get a blood panel, take a look under the hood, see what's going on. And just know that choice is either going to be really good or really bad. And chances are it could be literally removing years, maybe even decades off your life, because there's not an awareness of what the impact of that habit is. I've got a 5-hour routine that I do every morning. It starts at 4 a.m. And that routine is built on habits that are forging my destiny every single day. And that routine includes meditation and reading books and working out my heart with cardio, but then also, working out my muscles, spending time with my wife, spending time with my kids. It's a time for emotional breakthrough, and it's also a time to connect to God. All of those activities, because they happen every single day, what they do is they already tell me where I'm going to wind up in life. So I think the best advice I could give for someone is to say, just pause and just look at your dailies, and then put them in categories. Which of your dailies are good for you in creating the life that you want, and which ones maybe aren't. And just know that the most powerful thing that you can do is rearrange your habits, because if you can habit stack all of them into the positive, well, shoot, 5 years goes by, 10 years goes by, and now you're going to be out of a fixed mindset. You're going to be more in a growth mindset. You can actually get where you really want in life.
Oh, that was seriously gold. Like, that little chunk right there is gold, because it's so true. And, habit stacking, like 1%, eat for the good or bad every single day. Eat a cheeseburger, once a month is no big deal, but eat one every day and you're going to gain 30 pounds and have, heart problems. Yeah. And funny that you should say that, because my husband, he's very healthy, works out, great guy. We just found out that he's pre-diabetic. And I'm like, this is impossible. How are you pre-diabetic, right? So I started looking at his activities, and we realized, okay, you're eating fast food, and then you're eating a soda, and then you're eating a Red Bull, and the amount of carbs and sugar, it took me back so bad. And he immediately just changed those things over an 8-week time frame, and now he's reversed it. But he didn't realize it, and I didn't realize. I'm like, how is this possible? You're like the healthiest guy ever. Then I look into his habits, his daily habits, and pull back the curtain, and I was just freaking out. And as a young man at 52, he just turned 53 a couple of days ago, that's what those daily habits mean. So again, for the good or bad, such good advice. Well, Kris, it's been great having you on here. I've been following you and seeing what you're all about. And I love the whole aspect of you just being like the mindset and being a better person. And as much as the wealth is great, but I love money, but I also love, that, because I believe they're so hand in hand. Again, one more time, follow Kris on socials. You want to go to his different social channels, give him a like. You can hear more of his motivation, how to make money, how to change your mindset, how to make good decisions, and then go buy his book, right? The Ultimate Time Machine. You can get it on Amazon. And do you have a direct?
Yeah, if they go to F.I.R.E. Yeah, freewealthgift.com is where you can grab my books, tickets to my events, or just connect with me on more of what I do in life. So feel free to use that as a free resource, freewealthgift.com.
And go buy it, everyone. Pay it forward. And remember, Kris, thank you so much. Remember that it's great to learn. Knowledge is not power. Implementation is. So go buy the book, put it into practice. And I hope you are just as fired up as I am. And I will see you next time.
Thanks, Krista.
Thanks for being here.
Find up information if you'd like to learn more about this strategy and many more. Do me a favor, sign up somewhere on this event, on this page for my event, Unstoppable Agent. It's virtual. You can take everywhere home. It's less than a couple cups of coffee, and I guarantee you that you will learn more in the first day than you will learn all year in real estate. And guess what? If you don't think so, I'll give you a refund. Click the link somewhere on this page. I'm Krista. See you soon. Have a great day. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.